Emissary is trying very, very hard, but Gold Trip is brave. Gold Trip is going to win the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Gold Trip wins it. Without a fight, runs on, lays in on top of Gold Trip. West Wind blows, without a fight, coming at it, without a fight. West Wind blows, the heads in unison, without a fight for the Caulfield Cup. From the summit, Jimmy the Bear, Juniper the insides, Sulcombe is flashing through. Here comes Sulcombe, Sulcombe from the clouds, Sulcombe wins it.
Jane Ivel's cast her eyes over a few of these horses as they're getting saddled in the saddling area. There's obviously an importance about how they're being saddled and how they're pre-parading, but how much importance do you put on that when it is a Melbourne Cup?
I think it's really important when these horses are expected to go out onto the track and run the 2 miles that they're conserving as much energy as possible. And I think what we're seeing today is just how relaxed everybody is behind the scenes here. The horses are really nice and relaxed and settled in their tie-ups, and you'd know, Lizzie, from watching the horses arrive on course that for the most part they have been that way since they've arrived on course.
Well, that's exactly what Vauban is at the moment. He's lovely and relaxed. He's been walking the pre-parade very calm and collected.
Certainly. First time I walked past him was probably about 10 minutes ago, and he was standing in the tie-ups. The team have begun the saddling process with him, and he has not moved a muscle. Really interesting seeing the footage of him when he actually came to Flemington during his preparations for the Melbourne Cup, and he got a little bit toey and a bit above himself and had a look around, and they obviously breezed him up the course proper, but he has been nothing but relaxed since I've been watching him. He did not move a muscle when they put the saddle on, so the team said expect him to be relaxed in the yard, expect him to walk around, and the way that he's asleep in the tie-ups, I imagine that's exactly what he's going to do.
I want you to tell us what you said word for word about Without a Fight when you walked past him.
I thought he looked incredible when I walked past him. He's a horse that has just continued to improve right the way through this campaign. Gee, he looked fit. Gee, he looked bright. And he was another one that was just really content, resting a foot in the tie-ups and conserving his energy. He's one that can get a little bit strong on the bit and a little bit up and about in the mounting yard, but obviously with a little bit of racing, he settles. I thought he looked particularly well. Vauban, Absurd, looked terrific. These are horses coming from Europe that aren't that traditional compact sort of European stayer. They've got a bit of scope about them, don't they, and a bit of substance. They're both really nice horses that Willie Mullins has brought across.
Well, we look forward to getting your pick of the yard when they enter in there, but tactics are a very important part of this Melbourne Cup. Let's head out to BZ.
And Jane, looking at the start of the race, Michael Walker, they've got 800 metres approximately from when the time the gates open until they get to the winning post for the first time. And the race can be not necessarily decided, but you can certainly put yourself in an ideal position in that amount of time. This was your view on Criterion going back a few years ago, and some jockeys elect to just dart straight back to the inside. Others look to keep themselves out in some room and give themselves plenty of opportunity, but I don't get the feeling you need to rush given you've got so much time before you hit that first bend.
No, you don't at all. As a jockey, you prefer to actually draw a little bit wider in this race just so you can see what everyone else is doing. Here when I rode Criterion, I drew 4. He jumped really good and I never went to the fence for a good 400 metres till I worked out who was coming over, and then I ended up behind Damien Lane and I had Kieran McAvoy.
So you're basically behind the leader at this stage?
Yeah, we're behind the leader here and it's a good position. He's nice and relaxed. There's obviously, looking back, there's a lot of other things that I would have changed, and probably if I was in that position again, I would have went a little bit quicker going out of the straight, and probably I've ended up 3 back the fence here, which really is against the brick wall because you've got so much more to conquer. So if I'd have been behind the leader here on this day, it would have been a totally different scenario.
Were you going into this race just being a little more conservative though to try and ensure he got the 3,200 metres?
I was on this day, I definitely was, even though he had won a derby when he was younger with Hugh Bowman on this day I was, after he'd run in other races, I still wanted him to get this trip.
This was a day that there was a lot of talk about the track too, that the inside section was better, so was that also playing in your mind?
Also, yeah, so that's why I was happy about the draw. But you can see here where I've come one off the fence and how good I'm travelling. And Michelle Payne here, she's now 4 off the fence on the horse that obviously ended up winning it for her. And Criterion was a horse who needed room. He needed to be on the outside. Still to this day, I believe I would have been on the outside. You can see here I got bumped there. I got caught behind Gay Waterhouse's horse with Kieran McAvoy for a long... Then I got to the outside. He's had 57.5 this day. So it probably, to me, if he had got out earlier, he would now be sitting as the horse with the most weight that's ever won a Melbourne Cup. But I can only look back and wish that things did happen that day. But all in all, he ran super. But going into that first corner, don't look for jockeys to be rushing, no matter whether you draw in 1 or you draw in 24. Just let people emerge into the race at their own time.
Emissary is trying very, very hard, but Gold Trip is brave. Gold Trip is going to win the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Gold Trip wins it. Without a fight, runs on, lays in on top of Gold Trip. West Wind blows, without a fight, coming at it, without a fight. West Wind blows, the heads in unison, without a fight, won the Caulfield Cup. From the summit, Jimmy the Bear, Juniper the inside, Sulcombe is flashing through. Here comes Sulcombe, Sulcombe from the clouds, Sulcombe wins it.
And Sulcombe is one of the first horses saddled up and getting warmed up here in the pre-parade area as we count down, Lizzie, to the Lexus Melbourne Cup, not far from these horses heading under the tunnel and into the mounting yard.
Yes, there's a few of them that look as though they're absolutely at the top of their condition, and clearly there's a few that, you're seeing a bit of horses that are definitely...
That was a very good catch.
Yeah, I know. I've been known to catch a few things anyway. There's a few of them have got a little bit improvement in their coat that you would expect because they're coming from the northern hemisphere. So I think overall there's a lot to like about a lot of the parades. I can just see over the corner of my Future History and also Gold Trip as well, which I've been keeping a real eye out for, and Latoshka as well. I've been looking forward to seeing how she paraded. She's very small, neat, compact. She doesn't have a lot of strength, but I think what you're looking for in a stayer is an athlete, and that's exactly what she is. We've
spoken to a couple of the strappers today, but that's become such a big part. Obviously, we hear from the trainers, we hear from the jockeys, we hear from the owners. It's a big day and a big moment for the strappers as well. We saw the story with Emily and Absurd. We had a chat to Grace Williams earlier in the week, who's been with Vow and Declare every step of his Melbourne Cup journey. Sasha Roberts and Mitch Connors as well with Gold Trip. It's a big few minutes for these guys.
It is, and the build-up has not just been the last 24 hours. The build-up has been knowing when your horse has been entered for this race, which is usually a good few months ago. So that whole build-up, and especially for the guys who are travelling with these horses, they're living and breathing every single day about what their horses eaten well, whether their temperature is right, how they're moving, their action, everything is under a microscope. So you become very, very, focused on that one thing, and it's about to culminate in the next, half an hour.
Pretty warm conditions as well. We should mention
too.
The wind's just picked up. What's been keeping the horses nice and cool in their stalls as well is the misting systems that the VRC have here at Flemington. So, albeit we've been starting to sweat up a bit, the horses in their boxes have been cool, calm and collected until they get out here, and this is where they've got the sun on their back.
And the breeze has been pretty good as well. That's cooled them down. And a lot of the contenders have also been at the back where the swab area is. It's an enclosed area. It's very cool. There's lovely dark and there's nice fans there as well. So that's been a really good part to put a few of those horses to. So it's great to see these horses in great order. Look, I haven't had a really close look at which ones I love. I've had a good look around. I think you can't be negative about Vauban or Absurd. You can't be negative about Gold Trip. It sounds like there's a few horses there that I think could look a little better, but I would definitely say that the horses at the top of the market have presented and pre-paraded really beautifully. I do have a little bit of a soft spot just for the French form. I'm fascinated.
You've been over there 3 or 4 times.
I'm just fascinated to see how it goes, how that French form weighs up, and I've just loved her action. I think she's got a lot of potential, so I'm looking forward to seeing how Latoshka goes. But I'd also love a fairy tale, and a Vow and Declare for you, but for me Gold Trip would also be, to etch his name in those history books is, something that would be very, very special.
We know the good things come in small packages as well when it comes to Latoshka. They're just starting to about to be called down into the mounting yard for the 2023 Lexus Melbourne Cup. Guys, the build-up continues. Let's get a market update for the great race.
Time has come for the race that stops the nation. Michelle Payne winning it in 2015 aboard Prince of Penzance, holds over that famous trophy to VRC chairman Neil Wilson. And there's 23 horses and riders who are ready for their quest at glory. A race first run on November 7, 1861, the 163rd edition of the $8.4 million Lexus Melbourne Cup. Over 3,200 metres, Gold Trip bidding to become just the 6th horse to win multiple Melbourne Cups, as is vow and declare. And there they are, the 23 jockeys with Neil Wilson. Without a fight, can he become just the 12th to complete the Caulfield Melbourne Cup double? Here is horse 1, Gold Trip. James McDonald goes aboard. Gold Trip runs in the Caulfield Cup, the Cox Plate and the Melbourne Cup for the 2nd straight year. 2nd, 9th and 1st last year. 3rd in the Caulfield Cup, 5th in the Cox Plate. He bids to become the first horse since Green Moon 11 years ago to win the Turnbull here, run unplaced in the Cox Plate and then win the 2 Mile Classic.
Well, it was a huge win in the Turnbull here at Flemington. He was terrific in a fast Caulfield Cup with a top weight. It was a stronger Caulfield Cup than last year. Fastest last 200 metres of the Cox Plate. I think he's going better than 12 months ago, but he did get a wet track last year. He should get a soft run. He just needs luck at the right time. I think he's one of the 3 main winning chances in the Cup.
He's been relaxed since the moment he walked on course. There's no doubt that he handles the pressure of race day beautifully. He's very composed, he's very relaxed, and he's looking as good as I've seen him in a mounting yard.
Horse 2 is Alan Kerr, 34 years to the day since his first Melbourne Cup ride. Damien Oliver has his 32nd and final run aboard the Mike Moroney Galloper, who was 11th in the Underwood, 5th in the Might and Power and 9th in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup.
And ran the fastest last 200 metres of the race in the Moonee Valley Cup, so maybe the rise in distance will be a positive. His best form from a long time ago when he was in Europe, that would be good enough. He hasn't shown anything like that best form in Australia though. That's the concern.
Striding out beautifully in the yard as you would hope to see. He's a horse that's progressed really nicely right the way through this campaign. Best I've seen him step out in the mounting yard.
3 without a fight, 13th last year for Simon and Ed Crisford with 1 kilo less. He joined Anthony and Sam Freedman. 3 runs, 2 in Queensland, winning in the Lord Mares and the Q22 before the prep run in the Underwood. He was outstanding, winning a fast edition of the Caulfield Cup, and as a result wears a 1 kilo penalty.
It was a huge win in the Caulfield Cup. He outstayed 2 really smart horses, gets the firm ground to suit today. I think it was the conditions that beat him 12 months ago, not the distance. One of the 2 best chances for me and one of the 2 horses I want to back in the race.
Physically and in terms of his overall fitness, he's improved again coming to the Melbourne Cup. He couldn't look any better in terms of his conditioning. As you can see, a couple of strappers on him. He gets on his toes in the mounting yard. That's typical of him. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
4 breakup needs to defy history from barrier 18 to become Japan's 2nd Melbourne Cup winner. He was 4th in the Tenno show at this distance in Kyoto back in April behind Justin Palace with 3 kilos more than today. That's the last time his jockey Kohai Matsuyama was aboard. Breakup was 8th in the Caulfield Cup, beaten almost 6.
You'd imagine he's going to improve second up. He generally does. He'll get onto a bigger track here at Flemington. The extended trip of 2 miles is to his liking. Look at how much the likes of Romantic Warrior, West Wind Blows have improved from their first run to their second run here off the plane and in quarantine. He might be a horse that's snuck under the radar.
Yeah, a little bit up and about when he got off the float, but relaxed pretty quickly. He's done plenty of walking out the back. I've had a really good look at him. He tightened up really nicely off the back of his Caulfield Cup run. He's definitely an improver here. Just nice to see him relaxed and parading with the rest of the field.
5 Vauban had 4 flat starts in France to begin his career before joining Willie Mullins. His next 8 runs were hurdle events with 3 placings at Grade 1 level during the Irish winter and spring. 2 flat runs since, a 7.5 length romp in the Copper Horse at Royal Ascot, and then the Group 3 Ballyroan win back at Leopardstown, which is the same race Vinnie Rowe and Johannes Vermeer have come out of to place in this race previously.
Controlling the race from the front, sprinting clear. That was on good ground. He wasn't as impressive on soft ground, but you can still tie the form in through Valiant King with the Caulfield Cup. He's been targeted at this race by a genius trainer, I think he's a deserving favourite.
He's a strong individual and he's got a little bit of substance too, so he's coped well with the travel, he's coped well with his work. For the most part, he's been incredibly relaxed since he stepped foot in the yard, and that's exactly what the team said that he would be. He's been up on his toes a couple of times, but predominantly he's been happy just to wander around. Of course, he's a little bit long in the coat, but sporting a really healthy colour.
6 is Solcombe. It's been a long-range plan for Chris Waller. He engages Joe Marrero. This horse announced himself as a contender a year ago at his first Australian run, winning the Queen's Cup on Champions Day.
Yeah, cost himself by missing the start 4 lengths in the Caulfield Cup. When they go that hard early, it's just too hard having to make up all that much ground. He had been shaping up beautifully for this race prior, and he's better suited back to Flemington. I think he's one of the 4 key winning hopes in the race.
Yeah, copes really well with his racing. This horse holds nice condition in between times. They've elected to put a couple of strappers on him today just to keep him nice and relaxed. He has got himself a little bit warm, but again, he's quite content and he's holding himself together.
Vauban stablemate is the 7 Absurd. He joined Mullins earlier this year after 11 starts in France. He won a maiden hurdle at Killarney over 4,000 metres in May, second of Vauban at Royal Ascot, and then the winner of the Ebor, a race that's produced Melbourne Cup runner-ups in Give the Slip, Purple Moon and Heartbreak City.
Yeah, Ebor winning with 60.5 to book his spot in the race. He likes good ground. I have a lot of respect for the stable. He drops nicely in weight. The margin behind Vauban was probably unfair when they clashed at Ascot, and he probably should have finished closer. I think early there was too much of a discrepancy between the stablemates. Now maybe, in my opinion, they're a bit too close in the market.
Look, we do know that at times he's been a little bit reluctant to head down to the start once his jockey gets on, but gee, he's relaxed in the mounting yard. He's had his ears pricked, he's had a good look around, and he's just ambled around. He's in really good shape, this horse, much like his stablemate. Obviously, he doesn't have a clean summer coat on him, but he's sporting a great colour.
8 Right You Are here off a 5th in the Caulfield Cup.
Typically brave in the Caulfield Cup. He likes firm ground, but I just don't know about him stepping up to 3,200 metres.
Nice and relaxed as usual, well prepared, a typical parade for him if he's good enough.
9 is the Evergreen Vow and Declare BZ. His 4th Melbourne Cup. He becomes just the 3rd horse to run in 3 after winning it. Lord Nolan 1908, Doremus 1995 the others.
He loves dry ground. He's proven at this trip. I thought his run in the Weight for Age contest 2 starts back was outstanding. So too his last start in the Moonee Valley Cup.
Peaking at the right time, dapples are out across his hind quarter. He's in the perfect condition for this race.
10 Cleveland scratched, 11 Ash Run was 10th in this race in 2020 with 53 kilos. He had nearly 3 years off the scene. Kieran McAvoy reunites with him. He was aboard for victory in the Lexus Hotham on Cup Day in Derby Day 2020.
He was among the strongest late off that really fast speed in this race 3 years ago. He's improved with racing this preparation and drops nicely in weight.
Be a great training fit. He's very fit. He's very fit for this. Is getting himself a little bit warm in the yard though.
12 is Darshan Sweet Jr. He was 6th last year with 53 kilos from the same draw.
He was okay late off a slow speed in the Herbert Power. He's suited rising in distance. He dropped 6.5 kilos. Did run a good 6 in this race 12 months ago, and I think he's a solid top 10 chance.
He looks really fit. He's immaculate, and I think this horse can run a race based on his parade.
13 Akita Sushi bids to give Joseph O'Brien his 3rd Melbourne Cup.
To do a lot of work in the mid stages of the Caulfield Cup and just blew out the last 200 metres. Does like firm ground. Maybe he'll appreciate Flemington. I think it's hard to see him improving enough to be a winning contender though.
He's taken fitness improvement out of his Caulfield Cup parade, and he is very relaxed outwardly in his mannerisms, but he's got himself quite warm.
14 Shiraz is yet to win in 12 Australian starts. He was beaten 2 lengths in the Moonee Valley Gold Cup, 5 in the Bart Cummings.
Got a bit too keen in the Bart Cummings. He was okay in the Moonee Valley Cup, but there were better runs. He drops in weight, but it's been a long time since that last win in June 2021, and others have stronger form.
Well prepared for a race like this, and he has been relaxed since he come into the yard. You can see he's had a sweat earlier in the day and dried off, but he's handling the occasion well. 15
Lastochka bids to become the 15th mare to win the great race. She was a Group 3 3,100 metre winner at Longchamp 2 months ago.
Yeah, lightly race staying mare, as you said, a last start winner in France. She makes her own luck on or near the speed. My worry is her last 2 wins have been on wet tracks, and this track has to be drying out now.
They haven't been wrong in the way they've described her. She's knee-high to a grasshopper. She's very narrow. There's not much to her, but she is a naturally clean-winded type, and she's another one that's taken absolutely everything in her stride since she got into the yard.
16 Magical Lagoon, the 2022 Irish Oaks winner, beaten a length into 6th in the Geelong Cup. Mark Duplessis with his 5th Melbourne Cup ride.
kept kicking there along the fence in the Geelong Cup and wasn't beaten far. Did give the impression in that run maybe she wants further, but I think there's stronger chances. Looks one of the maybe potential speed influences.
Trained on well since I saw her at Geelong. I think there's been some improvement in her and she's really brightened up in the coat.
17 is Military Mission, the Herbert Power and Newcastle Cup winner. 4th in the Metrop in between, and ticks the old Bart Cummings rule of 10,000 plus metres in the legs prior to the Cup.
Somewhat of a query going to the 2 miles, but you have to admire the way this horse has been hitting the line recently over 2,400 metres. Not in typical fashion of the way the stable generally have their horses ridden. He's one that can be ridden more patient and has a strong finish.
Relaxed, conserves his energy well. He's just wandered round on a long rein, and as we know from the stable, he's nice and fit and done the miles for this race.
18 Serpentine, 20th last year off a 2nd in the Lexus Archer, comes here following a 3rd in the Bart Cummings.
I don't think he appreciated the conditions in the race 12 months ago. Gets dry ground to suit, drops sharply in weight. His form doesn't look strong enough though.
He looks like a real athlete in the yard. He's hard fit for this. That's not going to be an excuse for him. Absolutely glowing in the coat.
19 is Virtuous Circle, a 12th Melbourne Cup ride for Craig Newitt. 2nd in the ATC Derby back in April. Luckless in the Bart Cummings, 8th in the Geelong Cup.
I was disappointed in his run in the Geelong Cup. His career peaks have both been on wet tracks. He'd surprised me here on dry ground.
Could not look any better in the mounting yard. He's just got to run up to his looks.
20 More Felons was a half length off winning the Geelong Cup at its Australian debut for Chris Waller. 8th beaten 3 lengths in the E-ball. We're not the clearest path. Meets Absurd 3 kilos better today, and it gets a 5.5 kilo swing on the favourite Vauban for a sizable defeat at Royal Ascot.
It was the best run in the Geelong Cup. Drops in weight, might take further improvement from the run and looks suited rising in distance, but this is much stronger and may get a long way back from the draw.
As you would imagine, he hasn't acclimatised at this point in time, so he is still a little bit long in the coat, but he looks really bright. He's only a neat horse and he is nice and fit for this.
21 Future History, 6 Australian runs for Mar Eustace, at least 1 per month since his kick-off on the King's Birthday weekend in June. The winner of the Bart Cummings then ran 3rd at Moonee Valley.
He's in terrific form. He drops sharply in weight. He'll be ridden more aggressively today. Whether he's good enough, I'm not sure, but it would be no surprise to see him run a big race.
I love this horse on type. He's a lovely, robust, burly, big horse. He copes with his racing. He parades well. He's got the best mannerisms. He's going to give himself every chance.
22 Interpretation, the Bendigo Cup winner 6 days ago, 9th in the Bart Cummings prior.
Broke his drought there last time out. He drops in weight, might appreciate the rise in distance, but it's much stronger. He needs to go to a new level.
He's well prepared and he's stepping out nicely in the yard.
23 Carla Paw qualified via the Lexus Archer win on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, backs up here after winning on Saturday. He controlled on very moderate speed from the front there. This is much stronger. He doesn't have to go forward. He's obviously hard fit, dropping significantly in weight, but I'm not sure the Archer form's strong enough this year.
Look, he catches the eye in the mounting yard, this horse, and he has just lightened off a touch. Probably not the right word. He's tucked up a touch from his run on Saturday, but handling the back up beautifully. He's a lovely, kind-natured horse.
24 True Marvel was placed at this trip in a Group 1 Sydney Cup and a Group 2 Brisbane Cup earlier this year.
It was the 4th fastest late in the Moonee Valley Cup, and he really looks suited rising in distance. He drops in weight. He will stay. I just don't know if he's got the talent to beat most of these.
He's got that real traditional staying physique about him. He's handled himself brilliantly from the moment he stepped in the yard. He's straightforward, he's professional, he's fit, he looks super in the coat. So the team have done everything they possibly can to give him every chance.
That's the field for the 163rd Lexus Melbourne Cup over 3,200 metres. The Group 1 handicap worth $8.4 million. 6 runners returning from last year's field, including the defending champion Gold Trip. Can he become just the 6th horse to win multiple cups? Can Without a Fight become the 12th to complete the Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup double? Or will Willie Mullins, who's been close twice with Max Dynamite, break through with key chances in Vauban and Absurd?
He's got a great chance. I'm with Vauban on top. I just like his good track form. I have high respect for the stable. It's been a long-range plan to win this race. Everything's gone right to date. He's one of 2 horses I want to be on in the race. I think Without a Fight was outstanding in the Caulfield Cup and will love the conditions today. Better horse than 12 months ago. Gold Trip and Solcombe, the other main winning hopes for me.
He's getting out to a competitive price now at $6. I think that's an attractive bet with Vauban, Without a Fight, Gold Trip. They look to be the other 2 key chances in this race. I think the top of the market should sort of fight out the finish.
Loved the parade Without a Fight. He goes on top. He's just got the best manner about him in the mounting yard. He copes well with race day pressure. He was very composed and he looked outstanding physically. He's on top for me. Without a Fight's improved again since he stepped out in a Caulfield Cup. Diakon Sweet Jr. can run a race. He looked immaculate in the yard, and Future History is another one that I've got a bit of time for. So the three ahead of 12 and 21.
Kieran Maher joins us as he and Dave Eustace bid to become the first trainer since Bart Cummings in 1990 and 91 to either win the race with different runners or try and provide Gold Trip with the opportunity to go back-to-back in this race and become just the sixth horse to win multiple Melbourne Cups. 5 runners in itself is a remarkable achievement, Kieran. Let's work our way through them and start with Gold Trip, who treads the Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup path for the second straight spring. Jane Ivel really taken with his parade. Do you feel like you've got him here in exactly the same or even better condition than 12 months ago?
Yeah, I think he's definitely as good. Possibly, he certainly parades better. Yeah, the team have done a super job, and yeah, very excited for him.
Let's work through your other runners and start with Future History, who gives Holly Doyle a Melbourne Cup opportunity. How's the horse come via the Moonee Valley Gold Cup?
Horse is super. Couldn't be happier with him. He'll be forward, and there'll be a little question over whether he runs a strong 2 mile, but no better race to find out.
Right you are, Ash Run and interpretation complete. The 5, who's the pick of those 3?
Probably Ash Run, you would say. He's run in the race before, runs a strong 2 mile, just needs to get the right run.
Kieran, best wishes to you and the team.
Cheers, thanks, Nige.
The 5 runners for Kieran Maher and Dave Eustace. Sam Friedman comes in to join us. A handshake, a good-natured one at that for a key opponent in Kieran Maher and Dave Eustace. Sam Friedman, who talks of running into the members some 18 years ago after Mackay Diva's 3rd win in a Melbourne Cup, saddles up a key chance and Without a Fight. How are the nerves?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. No, we've had a good preparation. Staff have done a terrific job. The horse is presented here in perfect order. We've got some staff here on track giving him a good cheer, so yeah, we're all hopeful.
As much as you had a Caulfield Cup second up earmark coming via the Underwood, did you always feel like via that race you'd have some improvement coming to this?
Yeah, I mean, we did. Look, he's been fit the whole preparation. He was obviously up in Queensland, so his improvement's not coming from fitness, but it's just coming from probably getting him out in trip, the Underwood to the Caulfield Cup. And look, the 2 miles, he's on try again at this trip, but everything we've seen says it's not going to be an issue. He's finishing strong in the Caulfield Cup, so no, we're confident we'll run it out.
Good luck for your bid for history.
Cheers.
Great scenes here at Flemington. A massive crowd out enjoying the beautiful sunshine as the field is settling down behind the gates prior to the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Michael Walker, how important is it to get your horse relaxed going down to the gates?
Yeah, it is, especially when you go down towards the gates and you can hear the crowd yelling at you. A lot of the times you've got people wishing you all the best, but a lot of times it can upset your horse. So it is, once you're there, you look at the boys that obviously their horses get a little bit toey, they'll get one of the barrier attendants who are the best in the world to grab your horse and walk around for you. So it's just an amazing thing to be able to get your horse so settled, because it is a 2 miles, but a hard 2 miles, not a little go-kart track. It's a big wide open track with especially the heat that we have today, BZ, and also the massive crowd, because you hear the roar, I can tell you, it can upset a horse.
There's a good shots of Vauban. There's been a huge push here, though, for the stablemate in Absurd. Ben Asghari, your final thoughts here before the horses start to move into the gates?
Yeah, inside to out, we've got some speed here. I think Serpentine from gate 1 will kick up. Vauban, we know he'll be prominent to the speed. Magical Lagoon likes to go forward. Future History's resuming his usual tactics and going forward today. Right You Are won't be far away. Break Up can be closer to 3,200 metres. Vow and Declare, well, he was pretty close. He led into the winning post the first time when he sat third to win his Melbourne Cup. And I think Latoshka's the other one that'll roll forward and put herself on speed. So there's quite a few pace influences here that we could see a genuine test over 3,200 metres.
Fashionably late is the race that stops a nation, and what about those shots of this magnificent race course with a huge crowd lining the fence to catch a glimpse of something that will change someone's life. A trainer, a jockey, multiple trainers, owners and punters who are all on their seat waiting for the horses to be loaded into the gates for what is just a sensational race.
Yeah, good to see the race that stops the nation living right up to it this year. The weather significantly better than 12 months ago. Standing room only in the clock tower. The jocks that don't have a ride.
Yeah, Michael D, he was set to be aboard Cleveland. Unfortunately, missed the ride on Lunar Flare last year with a late scratching. Scratched yesterday afternoon with Cleveland. He takes a vantage point on the steps of the Stewards Tower, getting one of the best views on the track.
Indeed, and Michael Walker, Damien Oliver, he's going to try and win one last Melbourne Cup. What are we expecting here aboard Alan Kerr?
He'll do everything in his power to get it over the line. I think he's a great hope. You know, the trainer, Mike Moroney, he's won the race before. And going back to what you said, BZ, about the crowd and how this can change someone's life. It's as a jockey, these are things you dream of. To do it in the front, we've got 85, 90,000 people here today. And for a jockey to be able to do that is just amazing. And us from Racing.com, we wish owners, trainers, all connections, jockeys, all the luck.
Alan Kerr into $21 as well, so punters are very keen to be with it. What a magnificent sight.
There's not a seat in the house, Fix. Everyone's out. It's
I'm
out
glad
there.
we've got one.
Yeah, the best seat in the house, though, is Matt Hill. Let's head to him now for the call of the Lexus Melbourne Cup.
Lepore, who's been very relaxed out behind the stalls, the Archer winner, qualifying at the last moment on Saturday, going in. Right You Are is about to come forward. A magnificent training performance by Kieran Maher and David Eustace to get this galloper here today. A horse that bowed a tendon early in its life. The Melbourne Cup has always been on the calendar for this horse, and Right You Are goes in. The Japanese horse Breakup will be one of the next to load up as Vauban goes forwards, the favourite into barrier number 3. Vauban about to come along. Also joining them is Military Mission, who's drawn a good gate here, has the services of Rachel King with that big Group 1 here on Saturday. So they continue to load without a fight with Mark Zara, who won the race last year, looking to be the 12th horse to win the Caulfield Cup Melbourne Cup double. Breakup is in to barrier number 18. Vow and Declare, the first horse since Malua to run in the race 4 years after winning it. The 8-year-old Vow and Declare goes into the stalls with Billy Egan. More Fallons milling around. Also about to join them, Magical Lagoon for Mark Duplessis. Shiraz, one of the bolters, True Marvel, who's also at 150 to 1 here, waiting its turn. As Lastochka, the French mare, with Craig Williams, looking to win the Melbourne Cup again, waits her turn. Magical Lagoon just digging the heels in at the moment. So a couple of these horses just a little bit stirred up in these windy conditions out there at the 3,200 metre start. Vauban, the favourites, $5.70 pari-mutuel, but Gold Trip at $6. So we've still got 4 or 5 to come along. Deshaun Sweet Jr. is one of those. Now Shiraz with young Beau Mertens, trained by Chris Waller, who won this race with Very Elegant 2 years ago. True Marvel now, very relaxed indeed, goes in. So Deshaun Sweet Jr. and also More Fallons are going to be the final couple, with also Ash Run, Karen McAvoy, who's won this race 3 times with a white distinguishing cap. So they're just about right for the 163rd time, Melbourne, the running of the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Deshaun Sweet Jr. goes in. More Fallons goes up to the outside, and the field is set to run. Ready to go. And they're racing. And Solcombe stood there again and missed it by about 3 lengths this time. Beginning well towards the inside was Magical Lagoon, with also Serpentine, and not too far away Absurd, and also Vauban. Out deeper on the track, Future History, and also Right You Are coming over, and also Vow and Declare is 4 and 5 deep, and at this point of the race is about 2 off the lead and trying to push up from Carla Poor. They were followed next in the field by In Between Horses True Marvel. Military Mission is next, and just ahead of it is Absurd, and also Vauban along the inside. Next is Gold Trip as they come down the straight with just over a lap to go. Next is Listochka, who's 4 deep around Shiraz and Without a Fight. They were followed by Ash Run, Break Up, Interpretation, Solcombe. Towards the back, More Felons, and also Akita Sushi, and 2 further back is Virtuous Circle at the tail of the field. As they leave the running, the leader Serpentine by a length. In second, Future History. Third is Magical Lagoon, and Vow and Declare fourth, 1 off the fence. 2 lengths to Right You Are and Vauban, followed by Absurd. Carla Poor is 3 wide. Next along the inside is Gold Trip Listochka. In Between Horses, Military Mission, and Even Speed in the cup from Alan Kerr. They were followed 1 off the fence by Deshaun Sweet Jr. True Marvel 3 wide. Well back Without a Fight, Ash Run, Shiraz. Next along the inside, Solcombe, Break Up, Interpretation. Towards the back of the field, More Felons, Akita Sushi, and last of all, Virtuous Circle. 1,700 metres to go in the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Serpentine is the leader. From on the outside, Carla Poor, and Future History is third. 1.5 lengths, Magical Lagoon, and also Vow and Declare, and they get away at this stage as they reach the 1,500 metres. They're 4 lengths in front of Right You Are and Vauban, saving every inch of ground. 1.5 lengths, the stablemate Absurd, and then came Gold Trip. A length away, Lescotch is 3 wide at this stage, and then came Military Mission. A length away in the field is True Marvel, and then came Alan Kerr, Deshaun Sweet Jr. Without a Fight, Shiraz. Well back in the field, well back 2/3 down as Ash Run, Solcombe, and Break Up, and they were followed by More Felons as they string right out at the 1,000 metres. Akita Sushi is well back in the field as well, and towards the back, Interpretation and Virtuous Circle. So it's Serpentine running this along very solidly midway towards the 800 metres. It's a true staying test by 2 lengths to Carla Poor and Future History. Vow and Declare is nice and close, 3 or 4 off them. They were followed by Right You Are. Vauban's only about 4 or 5 off them. Absurd the outside. Gold Trip is tanking through, needs runs. Deshaun Sweet Jr.'s wedging through them, and Alan Kerr, plenty of hopes around the corner into the straight in the Lexus Melbourne Cup. And here's Vauban on the outside of Future History, and Vow and Declare between them. Absurd is also chiming in. 400 metres to go. It's Absurd moving up on the outside for Zach Purden. A length in front, but Without a Fight is running on right down the centre of the track. Without a Fight up to Absurd, Vow and Declare, and Shiraz the bolter. It's Without a Fight. 100 metres to go. 2 or 3 lengths in front, coming away from Shiraz and also Solcombe. Without a Fight, Mark Zara, a Melbourne Cup champion, wins it by 2 lengths. Second in the race was Solcombe, third Shiraz. They were followed by a photo for fourth, Ash Run, Deshaun Sweet Jr. Then Interpretation. Next in the field, Vow and Declare from More Felons. Absurd ran a race, Break Up, Military Mission. Well back in the field then Akita Sushi in company with Future History, Listochka. Well back Alan Kerr with Carla Poor, Vauban. Then came Magical Lagoon, Serpentine. One of the last to complete the course was Gold Trip, and Virtuous Circle was the last, and being pulled up at the 200 metres, Right You Are.
The sweetest slice of history possible for Anthony and Sam Friedman, the father-son training combination, and now 2-time Melbourne Cup winning jockey Mark Zara, who becomes the first rider since Harry White in 1978 and 79 to win the Melbourne Cup in back-to-back years on different horses. And Without a Fight enshrines himself in history as just the 12th horse and the first Ethereal in 2001 to complete the Caulfield Melbourne Cup double. 3, 6, 14, 11 are your numbers in the 2023 Lexus Melbourne Cup. They've run about 2 seconds outside Kingston Rules track records. Chris Waller with second and third in the Melbourne Cup. What a masterful training performance with the engagement of Joe Moreira to get Solcombe into second after, of course, he was again tardy out of the gates today. And Shiraz, who'd not won in 12 Australian starts, runs on into third place in our biggest race. And what a tremendous training performance from Mar Eustace. 5 runners in the race. Ash Rana, who'd had a 3-year hiatus after running 10th in the race in 2020, returns to run 4th. But to the winner go the spoils. A remarkable training performance, a remarkable riding performance. Without a fight, Horse 3 is your 2023 Melbourne Cup hero.
Without a fight, what a horse, what a training performance from Team Friedman. He was third up into the Cup today, and Mark Zahra with one of the great Melbourne Cup rides. He had a wide gate, he went back, he sliced through the field. It looked like the Irish stablemates might be fighting it out on the turn, but just smoking up in behind them was the winner, and without a fight. And he is a supreme stayer, Brent Zarafa.
And didn't just win, he was eased down in the concluding stages to win by 2 1/4 lengths and just roared down the middle of the track late. He was switched off and given an easy time as he hit the front. Mark Zahra had an opportunity to have a look at the big screen, look around, soak it all in. Back-to-back Melbourne Cup victories for a jockey who clearly makes the right decision. He was on Gold Trip. There was so much conjecture. Would he ride Gold Trip? He elected to go with Without a Fight, and history's going to show that is completely the right decision, because he is now one of the jockeys who goes to multiple winners of this famous race.
And take nothing away from this horse, he's done the famous Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup double. It has not been done since Ethereal. Let's hear from the strapper of the Horse Without a Fight with Jane Ivell.
Leanne Fielding joins me. Leanne, we spoke to you after a Caulfield Cup. It was a tough couple of weeks for the stable getting into the race. I know things have gone so much more smoothly. How did that feel? You've just strapped a Melbourne Cup winner.
I can't actually believe it. Like, honestly, the effort that goes in, and it's not just me, that whole team behind this horse. It just, hard work pays off. The early mornings, like every little mishap, the 1%ers, and just big thanks to every single person in the stable. Sam, Anthony, the entire team, Flemington, Pinecliff, Cassia, all the team everywhere. So happy for everybody. I just can't believe he won, honestly.
Well, Without a Fight as a Melbourne Cup winner, you've been by his side every second since he entered the stable. Tell us a little bit about him.
He's a little bit weird. That's being actually an understatement. Beautiful horse, kind nature, but he's a very funny horse to deal with, and he's a real one-on-one sort of horse, but I'm blessed that he chose me, and I love him. I can't help it.
Well, you go get him. Go give him a big hug.
Thank you so much.
Sam Friedman's with us. He's currently on the phone to his father, Anthony, whose plan was to watch the great race from a friend's winery on the Mornington Peninsula. Sam, congratulations. You're a Melbourne Cup winning trainer. You're just the 12th trainer to train a horse to win a Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup double. You've just had a chat to your father, who's of course been attached to victory in this great race previously, but is watching on perhaps from his lucky spot on the Mornington Peninsula this afternoon. What was Dad's words?
That was actually Lee. Just don't want to put a collar on it, but he rang straight away just to say, well done. No, credit to the old man. He's been incredible through all of this. He went up to Queensland, looked after the horse, and he won 2 up there, and straight away, we set our sights on coming down here. There's lots of little moments. I'm a lot younger, so I get a little bit worked up at times, and Dad's pretty cool, calm and collected, so he's just been the constant throughout. All the staff at home, Elise, who heads up our Pinecliff stable, Steve Adams, who's Flemington, Brad Taylor, all the team behind the scenes. It's a lot of work goes into this sort of result, and they all deserve it.
How pivotal was Queensland to setting up what we've seen in his amazing spring?
Oh, look, it was very important. I mean, he was pretty fierce up in Queensland. He was pretty aggressive, and you saw that when he won over 9 furlongs. Backed it up with the Q22 romp, and he ran a good race in the Underwood. But Queensland really set him up. He was fit and well, and I think with a horse like him, an older horse, we went to put him in the paddock for a week. He was running the fence, so he came straight back in after a couple of days. He just loves his work. This horse genuinely loves his work. He pins his ears back every time you work him. Just a good, genuine galloper, and massive thrill.
How much work was required going back 12 months once you took over training after he'd run 13th in the race last year for Simon and Ed Crisford? Was there a bit of work to get him to fully acclimatise to the Australian conditions?
Oh, no, look, the horse arrived in really good condition. He ran in the Melbourne Cup, and the wet ground really cost him there. He runs the trip strongly, but he travelled on the 400 last year and just didn't get through the ground. Ed was really good at filling me in about what the horse was like. Unfortunately, we had to miss the Zipping Classic after the Cup last year. But yeah, look, he's right back, and I might go meet the horse. It was brilliant.
Yeah, go meet him in the gates. Well done.
Cheers.
What a moment for Sam Freedman. What a moment for Mark Zahra, replicating the performance last year on Gold Trip, winning almost just as impressively today on Without a Fight. He made a bold decision to stick with this horse. It paid dividends in a Caulfield Cup, and look, he's elevated himself as one of the leading riders in the country over the past couple of years, Michael Walker, and this is a crowning moment.
Sure has, and yes, it is. But the ride that he gave his mount today, that just showed how much confidence he had in the horse to go back, follow the right horses, then spear his way through the field and get to the outside. And he sprinted and won it easy.
It reminded me a little bit of Glenn Boss on Makybe Diva, just so cool, so calm, saving ground, picking the right horses, picking the gaps at the right time, and presenting your horse at the top of the straight with so much horse underneath you.
In a race like this, for a jockey, it's confidence is the key. And when you've got a thoroughbred under you, that gives you that confidence to be even more confident, which he had. It's just, you just do things in a race that you would never normally do. But the way he rode today, that needs to be shown at apprentice schools, because that was amazing.
It was indeed. He is well and truly in the top echelon of jockeys here in Australia, the complete upper elite, whether it's top three, whatever it is, he's right there. And this horse, it looked like he outstayed him in the Caulfield Cup. I think he did. He's just gone to a new level, this preparation, and he is a serious racehorse.
Well, he arrived in Australia this time last year with Simon and Ed Crisford and was a key chance in a Melbourne Cup. Conditions were completely different. Maybe the horse was completely different as well. It all just didn't work out for him.
He didn't relax better.
He didn't relax. He was very fierce, but today he relaxed beautifully. And how good are those scenes with both trainer and jockey smiling and celebrating. And for Sam Freedman, a young trainer who was basically born into this profession with his family, his famous uncles and his father, who have had so much history in this great race, for him to be able to have a part of it himself and
what he puts into races and the way that they have reinvented this horse, recreated him, I should say. He's just, from what he was last year, 12 months, who would have thought 12 months later he would be doing this to a Melbourne Cup field?
And not only just that, he's won a Caulfield Cup, a Melbourne Cup. We know how history says that's extremely hard to do. Mark Zahra with family, his wife, celebrating, and what a spring carnival he's enjoyed. Caulfield Cup only a couple of weeks earlier, now a Melbourne Cup to top it off.
Look out tonight, Melbourne. Look out. He knows how to celebrate.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting interview. Brad Taylor from the Freedman team, now with Nigel.
Brad Taylor, the racing manager and a key piece of the Without a Fight puzzle, joins us after now being part of a Melbourne Cup, Caulfield Cup double. You've relocated your life from your native New Zealand to be part of the Australian racing scene. What do you make of what's just happened?
I don't think we could beat the day that Warning won the Derby and my best mate Jamie won the with Melody Bell. But this top set, this is unbelievable. You know, this is what we get up every day and look after these horses. Just to be part of it's a massive thrill. You know, Anthony's a freak of a trainer and Sam's, you know, learning along the way. But a fantastic horseman himself. The time and effort he puts into it is second to none. So just a massive thrill for this whole stable. And, you know, so richly deserved for the time and effort the staff put into the stable. You know, both stables, he's been part of both stables right the way through. The team that took him to Queensland through the winter. Just a huge thrill and a massive relief to get the job done.
What were the key aspects of the last 2.5 weeks to pick him up off a fast-run Caulfield Cup and let him produce what we've just seen?
Well, to be honest, we had a terrible run into the Caulfield Cup. We had a few problems leading into it, that were documented, and there was some that weren't documented. But the last 2 weeks have been so smooth, and everything's gone to plan. He's had a couple of nice gallops. We lost his number one tracker rider who'll be at home now, who fell off a couple of weeks ago. So a big shout out to Robbie, who's been a massive part to these horses. He rides all the top horses every morning and their gallops, and to do it without him here is just, it's a shame he's not here with us because he's a massive part to the whole team. But credit to the team that picked it up. Debbie English has ridden him in the last couple of weeks and got the job done. So it doesn't stop there. Lisa runs Pinecliff. Obviously, it's a great thrill to send Steve off the way. He's going to leave us, unfortunately, but he's been a massive credit to the whole Freedman stable over the last 22 years. So to send off the way we have, it's just a huge credit and a massive thrill for the whole stable.
I'm sure your good mate Jamie Richards is watching on from Hong Kong, a very proud best mate. The cup is yours. Well done.
Thank you.
Steve Adams joined me. Of course, we know, Steve, that you've spent the best part of 2 decades as part of the Freedman team. You've been involved in 2 of Makybe Diva's Melbourne Cup wins. How did it compare watching Without a Fight today?
It was unbelievable. Like he won so easy. We thought he had improvement in him after the Caulfield Cup. The fact that I'm leaving, it's a great way to leave. It's just so I can't explain it.
Obviously, you're going to leave an enormous hole in Freedman Racing because you've been a stalwart behind the scenes in the business, probably haven't got the accolades you've deserved. What a moment to go out, and you've been so loyal to this team for 20 years. What is it about the Freedman stable that's kept you there?
Well, obviously Lee and Anthony have been great bosses, and at the end here, Anthony and Sam. So for them to win a Melbourne Cup like that is just, I can't explain it. It's unbelievable. And the way he won, he looked home a long way out. So he had improvement from the Caulfield Cup, and to win like that was great. Great way to go out. Enjoy your semi-retirement, Steve. Thank you.
Mark Zahra is the 27th jockey to win the Melbourne Cup on more than one occasion. He's the first since Harry White in 78, 79 to win it in back-to-back years on different horses. Gold Trip last year, Without a Fight this year. Tell us how you got it done from 16 like that.
My whole objective, I thought that my biggest opposition was my horse himself. He can be quite keen. And he gave me a lot of. I went and worked him the other day, and he was keen. And so I go on the gates, he was relaxed, and I thought, this is a good sign. But I always wanted to go if I could find the fence at any stage. He's a horse that relaxes much better on the fence. And when it came up, I knew I was back a fair way, but when you're on the fence, it always seems to chug forward a bit, So slowly I gained ground by one up the inside. And said before, I was following Alan Kerr, but had Ollie on, so there's a tick. Gold Trip was in front of me, that's a tick. Ryan Moore's in front of him, that's a tick. So I think I can stay here as long as I can. I'll wait for these 3 excellent jockeys to start making their moves. I'm going to follow them. So I did. Joe make it off. Ollie probably didn't have the horse. And then all of a sudden I started to travel. And he's a horse that, lucky, like a lot of stages you've got to get up him. But on a horse like him who's got to turn a foot, you can just sit there and you can take needle eyes. And I just managed to smoke up right behind the right horses. Poor old Gold Trip, he was only going I got up inside him. I think it was Vauban or Purton, I don't know, I'd lost focus by this time, but it was opening up, and I was getting the front early, but I thought there's just no way on earth anything's coming from behind me, and boom, away we went.
How do you compare the two, and has this one got a little bit of relief attached to it, given how agonising the decision would have been to get off Gold Trip?
I suppose a little bit. I mean, your first Melbourne Cup, you can never compare to that ever, because you just don't believe it's ever going to happen. And I always said, I think winning one helps you a lot, because I come into a race today and I thought, putting aside all the choosing and all that, I knew I was on a good horse, but when you win one, a lot of jockeys strive their lifetime to win one, and you can go in thinking, this might be my chance, this might be a chance. But when you won one, you go, if I stuff it up, there's one at home in the cabinet anyway. So, you afford that little bit of luxury. But like I said, to change horses and get a little bit of flack about my choice, I'll give it to me down the race here today, actually. And for it to pay off, it's justified. And just thanks to my manager, Reece Murphy, Mark Hunter helps me form, like guys that help me sway the right way. And I'm really happy and very, very appreciative.
While the decision to ride Without a Fight in the Cup is only a little over a week old, did you get a sense from him during the Queensland winter that he was going to be capable of springboarding like he has?
Yeah, for sure. He's winning the Q22, I think it's called. He pulled my arms out the whole way and still, let loose. And I remember coming in and saying his win was extraordinary. And my wife said, you never say anything like that about horses. You always downplay it. And I said, well, it was. And my whole thing was I didn't think he would get 2 mile because he was too keen. I actually said, aim him for the Cox Plate because he won't pull as hard. But to their credit, he came back such a more relaxed horse. And the way he went round today, you wouldn't even know and compare him to the horse in the winter. He was so relaxed in the run. I just spent nothing until probably the 800.
A bit of colour coordination going on today?
I'm much more composed this time. I've had some time to breathe. I love you. So proud.
All right, thank you.
Mark, a special moment. We'll let you go and enjoy it, but you're now part of history, just the 12th horse to do the Cup stubble.
Thanks, Nigel. Cheers.
Willie Mullins joins me. Willie, you brought 2 really nice horses across, in Absurd and Vauban. Your thoughts on the performances of both horses?
Well, I thought Absurd ran a cracker. He was in a position to win at one stage coming up the straight. Didn't see it out. But I thought Vauban was a little disappointing, all right. He was beaten beaten too far out to my liking. When I saw him at 6 furlongs out with Ryan having to give him a little niggle, I thought that's too far out for him to be niggling him, and and he just flattened out and ran very disappointing. But there we are. That's the nature of this game.
What is the plan with the pair now?
We'll bring them back, see how they are, and we can still mix it with the two of them. They're dual-purpose horses, so if either of them had won here, they probably wouldn't jump a hurdle again. But we'll now that they didn't win, they're going to have to pay the penalty.
You've been trying to win the Melbourne Cup for almost 2 decades now. Will you keep coming back and trying?
Of course we will, if we get a chance. It's a great prize. It's a great day, great occasion. People love coming here. My owners are still having a good time. So we're happy, and if we get one good enough, we'll try again.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a break. Go on racing.com. Stay with us. Plenty more to come.